Welcome back to Paper Trails. It's your boys back again, Hamid and Shamark together.
Damn
I feel
right.
like it's been a while since we. I feel like it's been a while since we got together.
Yeah. It's been like three weeks, I think. No, more than that.
You had the Sharky episode. There was one with the Tarek.
I was on Tarek.
What was the other one?
And there was one by myself.
Oh yeah.
And then, after Tarek, no, then you also had Tribe.
Oh yeah. Damn, I've been doing something.
I've
been doing some work.
doing some work, yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Today I just wanted to do like call it a creative health check-in because we always label ourselves as creatives. Yeah. And I feel like that's such a interesting term in it because I like when people I often have these debates with other creatives where they're talking about how other like people like naturally born with it or you don't have. We've talked about it on this podcast.
I remember you had a proper talk with Zoo about
Zoo as well. Yeah, I remember. But like for me, like I don't think. I think there's like a natural affinity towards it, but I think everyone can learn it. To this day, that's never going to change for me. So when we call ourselves creatives, like I always find that kind of interesting.
What do you like describe as a creative?
Because like for me, like I haven't done a lot of creative stuff for the last consistently for God knows how long. Yeah. Because I've just been busy with work stuff, and even when I wasn't working, I was just grinding out work stuff more to to like just get back into work, you know. So like for me, like being someone who's creatively inclined is like someone who wants to kind of try and do it more as a profession. Okay, that's what I would call a real creative. Yeah. Rather than someone doing it as a hobby, because I think anyone can do creative stuff as a hobby, and does that mean everybody is a creative?
True.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's what I call a creative, but I feel like both of us are essentially aspiring to be professional creatives.
Professional creatives, yeah.
So that's why I like accept the role for us to call ourselves that, innit? Yeah. So I wanted to do this episode today to just kind of have like a check-in, because we don't like we haven't seen each other for a while, and when we do like come together, we don't like obviously we just catch up normally and do other stuff, but in terms of creative,
but it's very rarely for creative purposes. Yeah,
which is why we kind of built this brand anyway in the first place, right? Yeah. So man, I just want to see how you're doing creatively and like where's your headspace at? Like what's your plans for the future? How's things going?
Yeah, now you know what for I'll say the last maybe couple of weeks or so, just had a bit of a creative burnout. You know?
Yeah. In what way?
Like in a way that before it'd just be kind of like, it'd be like I have to do something, I have to just like either make a post, make this thing here, make that tweet or this Instagram post here or whatever it is, or like edit another short or reel. Yeah. And then now it's just kind of like I felt it coming, but it's been such a while since I've had a proper creative burnout. So then I just kind of ignored it. And then...
What do you mean you ignored it?
I ignored the signs that something was like this creative burnout.
Because this is like what we talked about before. I was I'm impressed with what you're doing. Like, how long are you going to keep up for?
Yeah.
And I feel like there'll be a breaking point at some point.
Yeah. But I think I kind of brought it on myself because I was doing a bit too much sometimes, that I felt like there wasn't a cut-off. Before I was kind of giving myself some cut-off points because we had that period where we had a lot of like ammo in stock, you know? And then there was a point where we kind of used everything, and then I was like, oh, damn. So now that breathing space kind of wasn't there anymore, you know? So that's what I think led to it. And then afterwards, like now...
So let's say it led to it. So what happens to you in that burnout period is what I'm asking you.
Breaking down.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's just kind of like looking at my hard drive, for example, is like, I'm like, oh, I can't even be asked to put it in.
What do you mean put it in?
Like put it into the laptop. I can't be asked to edit. Like that's just, it's kind of like I have a desk in my room, and then when the creative burnout is slowly like starting to happen, I'm less and less heading towards that desk. I'm just like grabbing the iPad and just chilling, and then I might be like, okay, fine, let me actually try it now, and then I'll be there for like 2 minutes, and then that's pretty much how it would go. But that's kind of like how it would happen. I'll just have this like loss of, I guess, want to make something in that moment of time. That's kind of how I have my creative burnouts. And then there'll come a time where I'm like, okay, that's all kind of like evened out. The turbulence is kind of gone. And then I'm like, okay, fine, you know what? Let me get back to actually trying to do something.
So in your head, like in that period where like, okay, but I still need to put episodes out, how are you feeling about that?
Tell you
and
what,
clips as well.
So quite a bit of it's a weird like anxious kind of thing. It's an anxious kind of thing because I'm like, I'm doing it in a way, but like, you know what the problem comes with? Yeah, it's these bloody, you know, these bloody TikTok guru guys. Yeah, that are like, here's the way to crack the algorithm. You just got to post every time for this, that, 4 times a week. Blah blah. All those guys. All right. So then, like, when you listen to a lot of that, subconsciously you start taking it in, and like you start actually thinking more and more about that. So now it's like, okay, cool. I've put 2 things out, but I'm like, okay, this isn't enough still. Whereas before, if I put 2 things out, I'd be like, oh wow, I've put progress. 2 things out. You know, it's progress. But now it's like I've hit that bar, and then it's like now there's a new thing. You know, it's that man will never be satisfied kind of thing. And now it's like, okay, 2, but 2 isn't enough now. It's like, okay, you have to do 4. And then so the lack of doing that, that's when you start to feel a bit anxious, like, it's not enough, it's not engaging well enough, or it's not hitting, you know? It's just that, and then that's when I guess you fall more into a spiral of like, so what's the point of doing as much if it's not gonna, you know, if it ain't busting. And then that's pretty much, I'd say, it gives you that, I get that anxious feeling.
How long does that last for then?
Well, I'm doing a proper experiment as we speak. Experimenting on myself as we speak right now.
Do that.
It's been about a good 6 days so far.
You know that meme of that fox sitting on the chair, like that's you inside right now.
Yeah. It's like, how long does it last? We in it right now.
The destination, we ain't moving. We're in traffic.
This is where we're at, you know. This is well, how about yourself?
I was gonna ask you also another question before I jump onto me.
Okay,
cool. So, like, you're in the burnout, which was expected. Yeah, both of us. But it was just, how long is it before you get there?
Yeah.
Which for me, I would say it's the longest period I've seen you do consistent, like, creative work for like in my life.
So it was like since June.
Yeah. And like, you're running the show, and like, from my perspective, I'm like, every week I'm like, I want to contribute and help, because I know the burnout is gonna come. Is natural.
Yeah.
As a human being, like, it's difficult to continuously maintain something when you're already busy with your life as it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I want to help out, but for me personally, my work right now is just consistently, I'm getting called out outside of my 9 to 5 schedule, which really disrupts my creative flow. And like, I don't even do anything outside of work anymore, like right now. And so I'm kind of addressing what your question is in it. But so how did you feel towards me and like as a group, obviously? Being honest, being honest.
Now, you know what, initially,
because I would say I'm still pretty transparent with you about how my schedule is. And so no, I don't think you're obviously holding any.
I think like when I kicked it off, I remember it was just the only kind of thing that I felt, let's say, if it was anything about the whole Inspyre group, was just kind of like, Sab, does everyone think Inspyre is like kind of like finished, you know? And then that was kind of, like I said, my spark to kind of just keep it going. And initially it was kind of like the way I saw it, which is just to kind of build this momentum up going until everyone can essentially jump back in again, because I wanted to continue on doing Inspyre, you know? So it was kind of like funny enough, because it was something I put on myself of like, let me do this. It wasn't like you saying, okay, can we start this? And then you left off. It was like, I was like, nah, I'll just do it. I'll just start posting again. If they decide to jump on, then they can jump on whenever. And that's kind of like how it is even till now. That's why I kind of like, there is no like resentment there is no like, oh, why is this person not doing enough? Honestly, there isn't. Because it's like, it was like, okay, let's just do the podcast and keep it going. Booking all those people kind of, and that's why it was so like, we've never been this guest heavy before. It was like just us reading the book and then we maybe have a guest here and there. But the reason why I felt like it had to be guest heavy was because to supplement for you guys, you know?
Yeah. So in terms of, what was I going to say? In terms of like, so...
but it is, I just want to say, it is actually a massive help when you do jump on. Like, for example, when you're like, okay, I'm out of ideas, and you're like, oh, I'll do one with Tarek, and then you bring Tarek in, and then, or like, I can't exactly make it to Shoaib, and then you come in for Shoaib, you know, so
do you feel more relaxed when that happens then? Like, do you feel more relaxed when I'm like,
oh yeah,
like, okay, you can take a break today?
It's just kind of like, it's that sort of anxiety of, oh, what's going to happen the next week or the following Monday is kind of alleviated because you're kind of like, okay, fine, that weekend.
So would you say is the idea that gives you more anxiety more than the execution of it? Like you're like running out of ideas. Do you feel like that kind of thing?
Yeah. I just don't want, and I think it's kind of like a deadline thing. You know what I've realized though? I've realized that I can only operate if there is like...
Deadlines.
Yeah.
You're good under pressure, but you're not good without
like,
the pressure.
Don't give me, like, take away the pressure, I'm finished. Like, if you tell me, like, you have to do this, like, tomorrow at, like, 5, then it's like, oh, damn. If you tell me you have to do this the next day at 5, I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I know.
I've got time, you know? So that's, like, kind of what it is. So, like, now it's, like, because it's a weekly thing, then it's like,
very weird because like 2 weeks isn't a long period at all. There's nothing.
It's nothing.
Like the 2 weeks fly by.
Considering you have to record it and then edit it and then
put it out and then clips and all that.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks and nothing in it.
It's nothing.
So
which is why it was kind of weird this week when we didn't have an episode. It was just kind of like, it felt, that Monday felt very, very, what's the word, dark.
Yeah.
You know? It was a dark period in my life.
So
I woke up feeling unfulfilled.
So during that last week, was the episode. Yeah. So how were you feeling then? Like, let's say, okay, you felt like it was a dark period, like something was missing, but like, did you not feel more relaxed? Like, okay, like it hasn't worked out this week. I've done my best. I've been doing it consistently for this long, which I'm happy with.
Yeah.
But how were you feeling then?
Nah, that's the thing. I felt the opposite of that. I felt like I didn't do my best.
You failed, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's kind of like. Because it's like, for example, the one just before the Sharky Sensei episode, which was kind of by myself, it was just like, because it was literally a Sunday morning at like the Monday, like 3 a.m.
Sunday night,
yeah. And then I just did it, and then just to like make sure that when Monday came, you know, there'll be food on the table, kind of thing, you know. And then it was like this kind of like thing of like, oh, Monday's coming, and then there was nothing there. But then it's kind of like a thing of like, because we're not, I would say, as big, that it was just kind of like, okay, I don't know if people kind of noticed like that, but obviously I noticed it, and then I was like, okay, cool, that I don't know, I felt like a fail. To be fair, this whole week has just been nothing but a fail. I'm joking. But it was a bit
you're joking, but you're not joking.
No, about the whole week, yeah. But that Monday morning, it was just kind of like, because I'm usually like posting a tweet in the morning before I go to work. I'm like, yeah, episode's out, blah, blah. And then it's just like, oh, Sam, now just
going to work. Like,
and down.
looking at Twitter like, damn. on the last two, like touching your phone,
just going for it, you know. Yeah,
interesting. So, like, do you think that's a healthy way to think? Do you think that's a healthy way to think? We're doing a real psychoanalysis today.
And now, you know what? I think,
like, let's say if you miss a week,
I think it's very much.
Because for me, I was like to you, like, okay, let's just write off this week. We're not gonna do it again like that. That's not gonna happen again. Or if it does happen, it's gonna be very irregular. It's gonna be rare.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'm disappointed because I would have liked to continue that consistency with the week episodes. But if you can't do it, you can't do it. You know.
Yeah, nah, of course.
So, like, that's how I'm trying to just like the episode with Shoaib that particular book was talking about is that I mentioned was like the acceptance of time is finite, and it's going to be very difficult to consistently do everything like at all times. There's going to be periods where you won't, and you have to kind of accept that.
Yeah.
Especially as creatives, the people who are trying to do other things outside of their daily lives.
Yeah, of course.
So like for me, I've kind of relaxed about it a bit, but I could see that it was eating you up a bit more.
You know, it's just kind of like I said before, of like,
and that's from text messages.
Huh?
That's from text messages. I'm like, I can see this guy's face right now.
No, you know what it was? It was back to back. Yeah, that's what it was. But then again, I guess the on call every day kind of thing must be ridiculous, kind of, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, with me, it is like I've been working full time again since the end of July, and I mean, it feels good to have a purpose, you know.
Yeah.
But in terms of the work itself, where like my routine right now is like the first 3 months, I've got like, kind of shadow on call for the first 3 months every week, every 2 weeks, sorry.
Yeah.
And in that 1 week where I'm shadowing or I'm on call myself, every time someone calls with a problem or whatever, due to the nature of my work, I've got to pick up and respond. And like, even if it's like a 5-minute call where I'm like, okay, we need to sort this out, we need to do this, and we fix the issue very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, if that's at 1 a.m., that's it. Like, it disrupts my whole next day, like completely. And there's like certain days where that happens throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like last weekend specifically, like I was getting called all day on Saturday, literally all day.
That's wild, man.
And like I just didn't feel like I could do anything else.
Yeah.
I felt like I was basically working a full day of work, like on a Saturday after I had already finished a long week of work.
Especially calls, man. Calls are just so like
draining.
You know?
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like
I'm actually speak back, and you know, you
like it's a good thing because I'm definitely being challenged consistently to grow. Like, because I'm naturally like absolutely like someone who doesn't like calls, innit? Like unless like I'm arranging something, I'm meeting up with someone, I'll call you, innit? Like, what's going on, where you at, and all that. And then I tend to use those minutes to like check in with the person, whatever. And like I find that useful, right? But then when it's just outside of that, like especially when it's not in my routine, like I'm not expecting a call, whatever. Anxiety.
Of course, up. Like, oh my days.
Yeah. Like it's like the Formula 1 car that just overlapped you.
Yeah. Nah, of course. But then this is the thing where it's like you look at it and you're like, oh man, I have to pick this up, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes like I'm working on that. Like I've been working on that. Like I'm making sure that I try and pick up like random calls more and more often, and I'm getting better and better at it because of the nature of my work. I'm getting forced to, which is very funny because I'm like I picked the one job that's like complete opposite of what I want. In terms of I don't want to be on the phone all the time. I want a regular schedule where I'm not like I know what I'm doing throughout the day, and I'm not gonna just get called out in the middle of the night randomly and my routine is disrupted. That's not what I want.
I don't know who does.
Like but. Like as a result, it's kind of just forced me to do a lot more uncomfortable things, and I think I've grown as a result, and I've grown in confidence even in speaking. Like before, if we didn't speak on the podcast for a while, I would feel very rusty. But now I'm like it's cool, innit? Like it is what it is. So,
that's a good point, actually.
Like when I'm in meetings and stuff, I feel like I just pick up conversations very easily and chat to people, and I'm not afraid to ask questions that before I'd maybe be a bit hesitant to ask.
Yeah, I think that might be a personal thing because I don't think you had that before. I think you. Well, I mean, you might have been playing off very well, but you always seem like.
I would say since we started the podcast, like in the beginning, like it was shocking. Like when I listened back to the first 5-10 episodes, like we had fun with it. We were good. I think it was decent enough. But in terms of speaking, like, here's the thing: people don't realize in the first season of Inspyre Reads, there was a period where for maybe 15 episodes, I was literally cutting up every pause in the conversation outside. I was editing that out, and I was specifically looking for that. So like that might have made the audio seem a bit choppy, but it also made it like there's no pauses in conversation, and
just everything
is just flowing like how TV is nowadays, isn't it? Like a lot of shows that I find like unnatural. Like have you heard of Succession? Like everyone's gassing it up. Yeah,
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Like, everyone gasses it, but for me, I find the dialogue a bit unnatural. Everyone's always ready to everyone's always ready to retort. Like
it's also matter. Like that Suits thing. Suits had that a lot. Like where it would be the same thing. Oh, they gave us a subpoena. They dash it on the floor. On the table. He just looks at the first page and he closes.
It's like table tennis, right?
Yeah. And he's like, oh no, this that, but this is this law. And then, you know
yeah. Like that doesn't feel natural to me. And that's kind of how I felt the first bits were. And like nowadays, we barely edit anything outside of the audio. And I feel like it's a lot easier as a result, it's more natural.
No,
and
of course, yeah.
And like we don't have to, like because we know there's no safety net underneath us. Like if we mess up, then we're gonna have to edit it out. Like I think we just speak more naturally as a result. But yeah, for me, in terms of like that, like I would say I have like I just kind of consciously said, all right, we've got to fake it till we make it. Otherwise, we're not gonna improve in that regard.
No, of course, yeah.
So like I would say that I specifically spoke louder. That's one thing, and specifically tried to speak slower at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
And that was a conscious effort on my behalf. Like,
so how come it's louder?
When you, because you enunciate better, I think, when you speak louder.
Okay.
When you speak quieter, your lips aren't moving as wide.
Yeah.
So especially me, like I've always had the problem where since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the size of my lips, I don't know, but I don't enunciate.
Yeah, what you trying to do here, man?
Chill out,
Goodness
bro.
me, yeah.
Chill out, bro. But no, it's just I always struggle to enunciate clearly. Like I would always get people saying, sorry, can you repeat yourself? Like to this day, like I struggle with that, right? It's not like a speech impediment. It's just like that I don't enunciate clearly enough if I'm speaking at a normal tone.
Okay,
so speaking a bit louder and broadcasting my voice a bit, it helps a lot with that, I think. So I feel like that's kind of going in that direction. But in terms of from a creative capacity, I feel like I've been burnt out for like a year or so, bro. Like,
I could say, you know what? Do you feel like the blueprint had an effect? Because looking
it's
back,
been such a long time, but yeah, that was
looking back.
6 months.
That was wild. That was a crazy regiment that you put yourself.
Yeah, we were. It was like the Navy.
Yeah, no, it was ridiculous. You was like, we're gonna do what? Was it 2 videos?
I got COVID. We're gonna do 2 videos this week. And it was like I have COVID. Like, I tested positive. I was going through it. I was recording videos. I was flamming and mucus. I got to edit all that out.
No, that's wild. You know what I mean? But it was like 2 videos a week plus the podcast.
For 6 months.
And then carousels and like Instagram and like just
and then promotions and all that stuff.
You know, promotions hurt, but like just so long, man. That's what takes me out.
That almost seems longer than the actual recording.
The actual recording, yeah.
And like, cause you tend to do those kind of things on the mobile device, right? So it feels more finicky and like.
Yeah, it just feels like
it feels more tedious to do.
Yeah.
So like, it's a good point, but I would say I recovered from like. You know. What is this, a movement? Like, I feel like I definitely like I got over that after like maybe a year.
Yeah.
Because that did completely burn me out. Like 6 months of that, Like when I deep it, like 6 months of that is ridiculous.
Wild.
Like especially when you're working full time. Like I get it if you're not working full time, but like I think since I started picking up more like mid to senior level roles in my career, that's kind of like mentally I've always felt like after a day of work where I'm just talking. Like I've been in meetings in the last 3 years, I would say, more than I was in the last 5 years before that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so like let's say 5 years of work and like 3 years of work, just like in meetings constantly. Like even this last week, there was one day, it was Wednesday, I was in meetings 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then I was on leave the last 2 days, Thursday, Friday. I was out of London. But on the Wednesday, I was meant to leave Wednesday night to go to Birmingham. Yeah. I ended up leaving Thursday morning instead because I was working till like 8 after I had finished at 5 because I just had meetings all day. And like the meetings they're draining, innit? Because like first of all, I've got to go and prepare my conversation, whatever I'm talking about, because I'm leading most of the meetings as well. It's not like I'm because like I'm in like a more leadership position now. Yeah, but
man, that's what we like to hear.
Depends if it pays well, then it makes sense. Where maybe not as much, but because of that, like I've got to prepare what I want to talk about. I've got to pay attention throughout the whole meetings. Whereas before, like my previous roles, I'll just cruise in the meetings. I like contribute whenever they ask me a question or whatever. But I definitely feel like socially burnt out, like consistently nowadays, which isn't good. So I'm trying to like make plans to kind of, for me, get out of this career in general as a like period. I want to get out of this career. Like, like I don't even want to, even if it's a role that pays double, like it'll be great. But if I'm feeling like this all the time, I don't know if it'll be worth it, honestly. Yeah. But obviously, if it all pays double, then yeah.
Who knows?
The money talks. That check. I'm like, I ain't a creative no more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's different. But yeah, like I just feel like I haven't had any. Like when the social energy drains, so everything else is gone for me. For me, like I don't feel like capable of going because then everything else feels like work to me. Yeah. Like even when I want to play games or whatever, like I barely game nowadays. Yeah. Like, but like I built a computer like 3 years ago that can handle like any game now. But like I barely game even when like I got PS5 like last year or whatever. Yeah. I barely turn it on. Apart from like FIFA every now and then, I barely turn it on. But like that used to be like a coping mechanism for me. I'll just go and play games and relax a bit. But now I don't even feel like that. I'd rather just go and watch YouTube videos because it's very low maintenance. Like, it's just you I don't have to move literally. But that's what that I do to wind down nowadays, which isn't good. I'm trying to work on that. But yeah, that's what I feel.
How do you get out of like this thing into, I'd say, the burnout into the creative kind of?
I don't think it's possible to force it. Personally, I don't think it's possible to force it.
No, I mean, like, how do you usually, like, how would you usually go about it?
Personally, I'll just, like, I haven't done it consistently enough to say that this is a consistent way of doing it. But, like, it's always been, you just have to change what you're doing and rest it out. Yeah. And just accept that, like, right now, you're not in a position where you will be able to consistently do that. Yeah. So, like,
because you know what I think about sometimes? I think about people that actually have to professionally create.
Yeah, but for me,
under a deadline, like for example, like authors that are like, okay, by this next summer, you need the manuscript done and ready. It has to be out. But then, like, what if like they've just gone through like months of just how? But then they have to force themselves.
Yeah, but that's the thing with them. They're doing it professionally. There's an expectation of money to be held there. Yeah. Well, they might have already been paid in advance. Yeah. And they'll probably have an agent who's negotiating these kind of things with them. Like, we need a certain amount of buffer time to be able to, like, when things aren't going well, for us to relax a bit and do our thing. Like, as someone who's working full time, that's not in a creative field, that's a lot more of a struggle, I would say. Yeah. Because when I then, like, every now and then when I do pick up like freelance gigs, I feel the pressure of the time that that we agreed on to do the thing, but I get it done regardless. I know there's money.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like I think that's a big difference. Like, like that's why I'm doing this job in the first place. I'm not doing it because I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not waking up like having that, because I also host 9 a.m. calls every day, stand-ups. I'm the host. Like, so I'm like the guy. I got to put myself on camera every day at 9 a.m. on Monday to Friday. And I'm like, okay, here's what happened last night. I got this incident, and this is what we've done about it. Anyone else get called out? All this. I literally have to do it every day at 9 a.m. with my camera on. And if I'm in the office, I got to go to the office. That's another thing. Yeah. So like, it can be very draining on the creative energy that I have in me. Because like, creative energy for me is just problem solving. Yeah. I feel like there's some part of your brain that just has like a certain amount of, I don't know what, nutrients, energy that gets wired to it from the rest of your body that uses a lot of energy. Like, you know, people say like like the brain like burns a lot of calories, like just from the activity it's doing, like the nerves are always going on. Yeah, so physically it's like it's burning calories. Yeah. So like for me, like there's a part of like the brain that is just a problem solving part. Yeah. Like, I'm sure there's science that backs that up, whatever. Yeah. That eats up at your calories, and like you feel genuinely tired when that part is overworked. Yeah. So and during the work day, if I'm doing because my role is primarily problem solving. Yeah. Like I would say there's a lot of that work being worked on all the time. Like I feel like sometimes if I was like to go and do a manual labor job that would take as much time or more time, I would feel more energized mentally to go and do creative work outside of it. Sometimes I feel like that. Yeah. But then I don't know, because I haven't really done that. You know?
No, because I think that makes more sense. I mean, in a way, because it's kind of like you can easily go on more autopilot in that sense. Because like if you're, let's say, working in a retail place, you're just doing the same kind of thing. You don't even, while your mind could be somewhere else, but your body's so used to doing it that you don't even need to like kind of think about anything else kind of like that, you know? Whereas I feel like being on a call where you have to mentally be engaged and listening, you can't even zone out. And then, I think that definitely does. It can take but I feel like that, I don't know, maybe because I think it's probably just because I haven't been in that position to kind of know.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Find ways to get out of kind of that.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Before you continue, like, that's the other thing that I was gonna backtrack on your point. Like for me, the other thing is, I'm seeing this and I'm feeling this, but then I'm like, I look at these doctors that are getting paid like half of what I'm getting paid, but working double the hours, and they're actually saving people's lives. Yeah. Like my job is I'm just saving people's money more. Yeah. So like, then I'm like, what's wrong with you? In my heart, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, do you feel like your work has a strong enough purpose for you to be feeling like this kind of thing? Like, that's why I start having like real proper anxiety and crisis moments, you know. And that adds on to like, nah, man, I ain't trying to do all that either.
Well, I mean, do you think that
like there's people really struggling, like that have real jobs that are really impacting the world out there? Then I'm like, I look at them, I'm like, well, what's wrong with me? Innit? Like,
you think maybe that comes from like a lack of fulfillment?
What do you mean?
Or like in terms of like kind of because your heart isn't as much into it, whereas because you want to do something else. Yeah. It's kind of like if we're talking, but then you're constantly looking over my shoulder to kind of like look somewhere else. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, fine, just go to that 100%, direction.
100% I would say is because I see people in the job, like in my job, that they seem to love the work. Yeah. And I'm just like, how? Yeah. Like, I would love to love the works because then I wouldn't feel the need to go and do other stuff. Yeah. Like, I would happily work the job if I see it. Like, I don't have to enjoy it, but if I at least don't dislike it. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you don't have to love it, but you can like it, you know? So, like, I would at least like to, on a daily basis, okay, here's the work. I feel like I'm doing something that's helping people and like it's giving me a sense of fulfillment, like you said. But yeah, I definitely don't feel that way. Yeah, and I haven't felt that way like my whole career, which is getting long now. This month I touched 8 years full time work. Yeah, so like 8 years full time work where I feel like I'm not doing anything that's kind of fulfilling my real desires or passions or whatever I want to work towards. It can be very draining. And then I kind of think about how long I've been there, and that kind of compounds the feeling. Yeah, no, of course. Because like, if I just break it down logically and say, okay, I've been there 8 years, but I still got a long career ahead of me. Like that might be nothing, a small period of time, literally, compared to what you have in the future.
Still, you've put in 8 years.
Yeah. And then, but I'm like trying to break it down logically to counteract that. So like on a daily basis, I have a battle inside me. Where I'm like, damn, like wake up, holding myself up by the neck. Like there's a battle going on where I'm like, okay, like, and on a daily basis, one side always wins, innit? Like most of the time, right now. Which side would it, God? Most of the time, right now, is the side that's saying, "You been doing this 8 years, man, and you hate it." And there's other sides, no, man, you can do this. There's people really struggling out there. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's where the real creative struggle comes in, and that's why I wanted to do these kind of episodes where we do like creative health check-ins, because I also wanted to use it as a point of finding solutions, not just talking about the problem. Because by talking about why we feel like this, I feel like we can pinpoint ways that we can improve, you know, and like and kind of just manage our mentalities, because that's something creatives always have to do. Like you said, like full-time people that they got deadlines, like authors especially, like that's a lot of promises you've made, you know?
Yeah, no, but sometimes you might be like, oh, nah, this story just isn't moving. You're kind of not feeling it, but then you're like, but I have to write something down. And sometimes it's that kind of thing. Like sometimes when I'm like, for me, the biggest satisfaction that I get, sometimes it might not even be the making of something. It's just putting something out there, right? Constantly just putting something. I'll prefer, I mean, I don't know if I prefer if it's awful and I just put it out there, but it's like, it has to be a certain level, and then just as long as you're continually putting something out there, because then in my head I'm like, okay, there's actually some steam here, something's moving, you know? Because for a long time I was on the other side of like, nah, I need to put the good thing out first. I don't want to put anything mediocre, anything like that. But then you never put anything out, you know?
Yeah.
So now it's like
analysis paralysis, they call it.
Yeah, literally. So now I've put so many different kind of things into place that make things easier, like the captions app, like the like Notion, where I just write,
click up, like you're managing your workflow basically.
Yeah. I'm also like I feel like I'm delegating it to like all these things, so that every time I hear there's a new AI thing that can do this thing, I'm gassed. Like yes, you know, people saying, I'm going
like the auto pod one is actually really good.
Huh?
The auto pod one is actually really good. But I think it'll work a lot better in this setting rather than Zoom setting.
Then Zoom, of course.
So I feel like we should give it another try, but like that.
Like that is like, if that proper comes into play, then that's everything. Like then after that, like the clips, the captions just picks out different things from your YouTube video, puts into like little 1 minute clips so you can go on TikTok and YouTube, and then captions it up for you. And then, like I said, then I just put Notion, like just a little heading of like what we were talking about, and then it writes the status for you, you know, none of my dyslexia stuff, and then it's good to go, you know. The only thing, if there was like a thing that could also make actual posts, like good quality Instagram posts,
or like tweets and posts, Instagrams.
Yeah, like visual elements, like the writing elements, they've pretty much got it down right. But the visual elements, like if you like, just draw for me.
You still have to get a graphic designer to do it.
Still gotta get the graphic designers are still, you know, got one arm through the mud.
These guys.
You know, so
when
it's
are they gonna be written off?
You know, but if you could like even have like a software tool that's like edit like Wes Anderson or something, and then it does and gives you the color grading, you just slap that into it.
Yeah,
it's gonna like change the game. But then again, it will change it for like maybe like the first 5 years, and then people naturally will progress back to like seeing human handmade kind of like stuff. But like I said, that's kind of like it helped me out a lot delegating it like that, because then it's like I feel like a creative when I'm posting something. And then when I am posting something, thanks to those kind of things, then I'm like, okay, fine. That's kind of like how I slowly get out of the, I kind of pull myself out like with a rope, like just by slowly posting something. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Let me just get into like actually putting my hands on it and then be like, and make something a bit more interesting, you know? It's kind of like that, kind of like that. And I feel like the good thing is as well with Inspyre is like, it is very broad in a sense. It doesn't necessarily just have to be the podcast. So then sometimes I'll like might work on something else, or like a little animation thing or whatever, something that will eventually contribute towards. But it's not necessarily to do with the podcast that I feel so burnt out over. It's something else, but then it's also kind of going back towards Inspyre. So then I'm like, the creativity, little sparks are slowly building up again. Yeah. That's how I kind of like, I don't know, I guess deal with this creative burnout thing. And also it's kind of like just it feels like a weird rush to kind of get somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it also feels like. Because I like, sometimes I think back, I'm like, because we started this in like 2018.
Yeah.
You know? No, 2017. Yeah, we started this in like 2017, and we were like I said, you know, like actually doing bits. And then, so it's kind of like, imagine if we had kept that going from then. And like, there's a lot of people that started at 2017 till now. And, you know, and you're just kind of like, okay, but what if, you know, and that kind of thing is like, so it feels like weirdly enough, I'm like catching up a lot. But yeah, that's my waking up morning fights, you know.
Cool. So in terms of like solutions, like, okay, so we've talked about why it happens and all this. So you've found ways of improving your workflow. I think the other thing that you've discussed is having an end to the season. I think that's a good thing. Because you can have a breather, and you know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, you know, which isn't the tunnel itself is a dark pitch black tunnel, but it's just like you can, you know, okay, we can work towards this target, and then maybe review how we've done it, and then pause, and then we also have now got like a backload of basically a portfolio of work that we've done. to show like publishers and stuff like, oh, we're gonna get your author on. This is what we've done so far. Like whereas before, like in the beginning of the season, like you were still getting authors on, but there was quite a few questions.
Nothing really to show them.
There was quite a few questions around. Okay, but where's all your work? Like, you guys?
Yeah, of course.
So I think it's good that having that consistency and having that target in place. So I think that's good. Also, the other thing, I think sometimes you need to accept that you can't do 100%. Like maybe just do 10% today. So like the episode that you did by yourself, like you can do more of those and feel relaxed about it. But maybe just have the bare minimum. Just make sure that you record your video, I would say. Because for me, like accessibility is a big thing. Like for me, I don't listen to podcasts anymore that aren't on YouTube. So I would prefer for everything to be on the platform that I prefer it on. And I know a lot of people are like that as well. So like if we can aggregate every podcast platform, and then also have YouTube, I think that makes life something that we have to work towards. But you can also have a bare minimum where you can say, okay, I'll record video, or I can just put a tape recorder or something, some kind of placement video. So I feel like we just need to be easier on ourselves, but still do the bare minimum that have a base rate that we always stick to, you know? So like I feel like these are ways that we can cope a bit better and do more things like that, you know? So that's pretty much what I want to talk about today. I feel like we should do these kind of episodes.
No, 100%.
At least every 2 months, I would say. Or at least like every maybe 5 to 8 episodes, whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about. And yeah, I guess we can wrap it up. Over time.
Of course. So now I think this is the 17th one.
Yeah.
So soon we shall be doing a little giveaway.
Yeah.
You know, we did one like feels like a century
20
ago.
episodes.
Yeah. And then just announce it at the end, or the final one.
We'll talk about logistics outside of that, but yeah, we've got a live episode. Hopefully, we're gonna do at the end as well, the season finale. But yeah, everyone, hope you enjoyed the episode. Bit more of honest discussion here, and
it's a good one.
Yeah, good one, definitely. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Keep on reading, keep on being more productive and enjoying yourselves, but also keep on making sure that you're being realistic about yourself and accepting of that the fact that time is not unlimited, and you should have a focus and stick to it, you know. But yeah, thanks for listening. It's been your boys from Inspyre on the Paper Trails podcast. Take it easy, and we'll see you next week.